Unemployment in South Africa has been reported recently as fueling violence against foreigners. National newspaper editorials and comments from citizens and social media sites set up by the presidency are calling on President Zuma to take drastic measures to tackle chronic unemployment. Many blame the broken education systems and growing corruption for dragging the economy down. President Jacob Zuma, facing re-election as leader of the ruling African National Congress Party at the end of the year, has been under pressure to deliver on the jobs he pledged when he became president. In his State of the Nation address last Thursday, Zuma said the signs were encouraging, but that the country was not out of the woods yet, with a triple challenge of unemployment, poverty and inequality persisting, despite promising last year to be the year of job creation. The number of unemployed increased by 107,000 from the fourth quarter of 2010 and the fourth quarter of 2011. Analysts say rising energy costs have seriously hampered growth in the manufacturing sector, which has seen a sharp drop in employment over the last 10 years.
Probably since about 2006, the situation has been deteriorating, and massively so since the financial crisis reared its head at the end of 2007. So you find that in 2006, the sector was employing around about 2 million South Africans, who equated to about 15% of all employed South Africans. Whereas now, with the latest quarterly labour force statistics, which came through for the third quarter of 2011, it would appear that we now only employ 13% of all employed South Africans, which equates to about 250,000 people less than the 2 million we employed in 2006.
Mr. Bezuidenhout believes the government can handle the situation by cutting energy costs to businesses, privatizing transport and stopping illegal goods flooding the country. He insists manufacturing jobs will continue to be lost otherwise. Zuma said in his address that he has called on the country's electricity public utility company, Eskom, to find ways of reducing electricity costs. However, he added that the situation would remain very tight until new power stations start operating in about 2 years' time.
We have 73% of those people unemployed being under the age of 35. They are very young, they are energetic, they are streetwise, they are IT-wise, they are impatient, and they are intolerant. That's your ticking bomb. You know, you're sitting with the risk that another 1976 Soweto uprisings can happen again.
Congress of South African Trade Unions, Cosatu, has put the government on notice, threatening a nationwide strike on March 7th, demanding the government scrap labour brokerage. Cosatu says labour brokerage employs more than a third of South African workers, with none of the benefits that come with permanent employment. They have described the practice as modern-day slavery. But South Africa's political classes, namely the Democratic Alliance and Congress of the People, say labour brokerage employs 500,000 people a day and warns that banning the practice would only exacerbate unemployment and make it harder for businesses struggling to pay for high labour costs. Analysts say government measures to boost growth and invest in labour-intensive projects over the next 5 years won't be enough to support South Africa's economic recovery. They say overall the pace of job creation remains far too slow to meet the government's goal of generating 5 million new jobs by 2020.
Jobs and more jobs is the only way our children could be saved from drug abuse. Jobs are very scarce. If you can walk around the township, you will find our youth abusing alcohol. It's because of lack of jobs. All they need is jobs.
Political analysts also say Zuma wants to keep his powerful Labour allies happy and will make sure pro-business reforms that economists say are desperately needed are kept on ice. The Finance Minister, Pravin Gordhan, has said the economy needs to grow by 7% a year for the next 10 years to make a dent on unemployment, more than double the current rate of 3.1% seen for 2011. In the meantime, some South Africans are turning to self-employment.
I realized I couldn't wait for the government to offer me a job, so I started very small, selling cigarettes, and now my business has grown. This is how I survive.
I also started very small with just $7. I was also babysitting for another lady who paid me $14 and I used the money to buy the goods, looked for this place, and that's how I started selling. The ANC will have a major policy meeting in June, but expectations of any meaningful changes are low.